Program does not necessarily reflect the opinions and viewpoints of the staff and management of this station.
Welcome to the wonderful world of seniors, the best of all worlds. You now have the time, resources, and ability to enjoy what you have worked for all your life. So let's explore the many possibilities available to seniors on Senior World Radio. Senior World Radio is your source for senior citizens-related topics, information, and entertainment. Now, here is your host of Senior World Radio, Glenn Howard.
Welcome to Senior World Radio. I'm so glad to have you join me today once again talking about seniors who are young at heart and twice as smart. It's a lot of fun to be a senior. We've got opportunities that seniors have never had in the past. We live longer. We got better health. It's a great time to be a senior, and it makes it nice even for those who have difficulties, problems, economic, physical, whatever, to know that there are a bunch of people around who are ready to help. And we've got a very special guest on the show today, a gentleman who has been involved in working with the aging programs for, I don't know how long. Don Hudman, director of the Areawide Aging Agency Incorporated. Don, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Good to have you back. We had Don on our show several years ago. Jim Orbaugh was with me at the time, and we had a great time just visiting and talking about the Area-Wide Aging Agency. But before we get into anything else, Don, just tell us a little bit about what in the world is the Area-Wide Aging Agency, and what do you do?
Area-Wide is one of 11 area agencies on aging in the state of Oklahoma, one of over 600 around the country. This whole system in which we participate is one where many of the agencies are parts of government. Many of them are part of local government. Some are part of county government. In Oklahoma, 10 of them are with councils of government, and Area-Wide is the only freestanding one in the state of Oklahoma. Our job, quite simply, came into being in 1965. When you have Medicare, Medicaid, you also had the Older Americans Act. And basically our job is to enhance the independence and dignity of those aged 60 and older, not just 65 like the Medicare program. Okay. And the bulk of our funding comes through the federal government. There's some small amount that comes from the state. And then the goodness of older adults who receive service has them donating a large chunk of change as well, and that money must go back to serve more people. So they've got it pretty well locked down as far as that's concerned. The largest array of services are senior nutrition programs. We're in Cleveland, Canadian, Oklahoma, and Logan counties. And for example, Oklahoma County Senior Nutrition, including the meals, if we include the meals that they serve, plus all the other organizations, plus we fund the coordination of 80-some churches who do mobile meals, all told, every year, over 800,000 meals.
Wow. 800,000 meals per year through your department.
Mm-hmm. And you know that those meals are Monday through Friday, noontime meals, and people oftentimes think, oh, well, that's substantial. Well, it is, but it's not as substantial as the need. We've seen in the last several years the number of people, the most frail people who are waiting for home-delivered meals, that number has doubled.
Okay, now are these economic needs? Are they physical needs?
Okay.
Talk about the typical recipient that would be beneficiary of your program.
Okay. Someone who walks into the senior center to get a meal on a Monday through Friday basis, their average age is in the 70 to 75-year-old range.
Now, these are the community centers. There's one down at Moore we often go to, taking our big map down there. There's one up in Edmond. I've been to one out in El Reno.
Sure.
I think there's one out in Nakoma Park, as I recall.
That's a different set of funding, but yes,
okay.
yes. except for the admin one where they want to do their own thing. Those centers are ours. I say they're ours, but none of us want the fox in the chicken coop.
Okay.
So when we see the federal and state money come in, we plan for the maximum number of meals that can be served, and we issue what's called a request for proposal. People come and bid on it and say, well, we can do this. With this amount of money, you're saying we can do this, this, and this. Someone's saying, oh, we can do A, B, and C, and the best and least expensive bidder is usually the one that gets it.
Okay, now these are not people who are homebound or.
Oh, no.
These are people who actually can get out, can go to a senior center someplace in their area and get a meal
Right.
every day, I guess.
Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Now, of course, you know that our older population, and by the way, I now qualify. I've qualified for a few years now.
Welcome to the club, Don.
Yeah. There's a situation that you brought forth was the fact that people are living longer lives, et cetera. The downside to that is people are living with more chronic conditions. And those folks...
In other words, stuff that used to kill us, now we're being able to be kept alive with it.
Yeah. We can prolong the misery, I think. And those are the folks that I really, really am most concerned about, in that large percentage of them live below the poverty line and with chronic conditions, and they can't afford food. And we've had doubling in this county, in Oklahoma County, of people who are on waiting lists. If you talk to the people at the food bank, they will tell you in the last 5 years the numbers of people, older folks, who are accessing food banks and food pantries has also doubled in the last 5 years. So we're not talking about all sorts of glitzy, glittery sorts of things. We're talking about basic needs when, in fact, our programs don't work on Saturday and Sunday. And I'll be doggone if these older folks don't have the gall to want to eat on the weekend.
Don, am I hearing you say that part of the problem that we're actually facing is that people are outliving their money, their income? I mean, you know, I remember, man, when I was a kid, a 65-year-old man was considered old.
True.
Nowadays, 70, 75, 80-year-old, I mean, they're acting like kids, flying around the world, taking trips and doing everything else. And even the low incomes, it's nothing uncommon when I go into these senior centers and start visiting with people. You know, one of the things we've been involved in is we're looking for what we call Oklahoma's incredible seniors. We like to find people who have interesting stories. For example, the other day I was up in Woodward when they were, I don't want to use the word celebrating, commemorating would be the better word, the 67th anniversary of that tornado that wiped out Woodward back then.
Right.
Ran into a lady, 97 years old, with just some incredible stories about having gone through it. So we're trying to find those kind of seniors who want to tell a story about their life and what's happened to them. And, in fact, we've set up just a special telephone number that people can call with recommendations of individuals that they know whose story they'd like to tell. And we'd like to have them just call in and refer, those type of people to us. But these are the kind of people who are outliving what they ever dreamed. They thought, they'd be dead by 70, and here they are, 85, going strong. It's something like this kind of people you're working with.
Yeah, it is. I will tell you that it is absolutely remarkable, the resiliency of older generation. But there's only so much resiliency you can have if you don't have enough to feed yourself. And that's what we've seen. And you know as well as I do that, by and large, this is the generation who did everything they were, quote unquote, supposed to do. My generation coming up, they are so inadequately funded as far as retirement income and what they've saved. The problem, I'm afraid, will get much worse.
Why?
Why did they not save, or why?
Yeah. Is it? I mean, sure, there's not a lack of knowledge. They knew it was coming, but is the at a time when we feel like we've had a good economy, or at least we did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Are people simply carelessly spending everything they get, saving nothing, or is it just not enough paycheck at the end of the week, as it were, to provide? What's your experience?
Yes, and yes. I would say that those who are already in fairly tentative situations as far as their income can't make it stretch. Those who have college degrees and have decent jobs, etc., all too often have been my perception, and I don't have the facts and figures to slam on the table.
But you've had a lifetime in the business.
Yeah, and I see a lot of folks in the baby boomer generation who just seem compelled to always have to have the new car, to have the upgrade on their house, to have this new, and this new. They've done it to themselves.
Then they get the end of the life and need help.
Yeah, exactly. There's that going on. And if those folks are, say, 55 to 62 or 3, are looking at their their savings and they're scared, maybe they should be. I mean, sometimes you got to pay yourself first rather than all the other things. But there seems to be a lot of that unadulterated consumerism and keeping up with the Joneses that I think has served baby boom generation
affected our
poorly.
generation too much, huh?
Yeah.
I'm Glenn Howard, Senior World Radio, visiting today with Don Hudman. Don is the director of the Areawide Aging Agency. This book, you've got a book, or I've seen a book called Survival Kit for Seniors.
Yep.
In our next segment, I want us to talk a little bit about that, but that gives an awful lot of information for anybody who is looking for assistance or wanting to give assistance and get involved in it. But first of all, I want to give your phone number. If you are a caregiver or if you're a senior and you just got some questions, you don't know who to ask, where to turn, Don Hudman and his organization up there can answer all of your questions. And their phone number is 943-4344. It's a very simple number. Grab a pencil and paper, write it down, 943-4344. Of course, that's area code 405. We got to take a break. We're going to be coming right back, so please hang around. We're going to have a lot of fun continuing the discussion this morning on seniors in the Area-Wide Aging Agency. Be right back.
You're nobody till somebody loves you.
Have you ever had a problem, but it seemed like there was no one who could help? You spent hours calling around, being referred from one place to the next. Well, not anymore. I want to tell you about a free and easy-to-use service in Oklahoma. 211 is a simple 3-digit phone number to get help or to give help when you don't know where to turn. Dialing 211 only takes a minute, and you are connected with a caring Oklahoman who will help you find the assistance you've been looking for. With access to over 13,000 programs, Heartline 211 can connect you to local resources for many different needs, including health care, food, counseling, rent assistance, disability assistance, job services, and much more. 211 is a service of Heartline, a United Way partner agency. 211, the right first call to get help or give help 24 hours a day.
Hi, my name's Jason Ledlow, president of UT Phone, the ultimate telephone service. We're proud to be a sponsor of Senior World Radio with Glenn Howard. UT Phone is dedicated to providing Oklahomans affordable telephone service all across our great state. We have Lifeline home phone service starting at just $1.95. That's right, just $1.95, and most of Oklahoma's seniors qualify for this reduced home phone service. They get to keep their old home phone number, and it even includes long distance. Another great feature of UT Phone's customers really like is that it includes repair service. That's right, any repairs at no additional charge. With many telephone services charging $40 to $50 per month, it makes sense to switch your service to UT Phone. This service is a federal program that is provided through the Universal Service Fund. There is only one per household, so make it UT Phone's home phone service for $1.95. Give us a call at 800-996-0098. Again, call 996-0098.
I've made up my mind.
Welcome back to Senior World Radio. I'm Glenn Howard, visiting today with Don Hudman. Don is the director of the Areawide Aging Agency. I'll tell you what, if you're going to talk about anything going on with the aging area, with seniors, there's nobody in the Oklahoma City area that has more knowledge and experience than Don Hudman. I had him on our show, 4 or 5 years ago, and every place you go, if you ask a question, they say, you need to talk to Don Hudman about that, because he's the guy who has all the knowledge. Don, I wish we had several hours, but we are a little bit limited on time. We were talking.
Let me answer your wonderful plot. It's quite honestly, being the go-to person means you know who to ask, who really does have the information.
Right.
Okay, so I have access to the information. It's not stored in my pea brain.
Well, in the whole last segment, we were talking primarily about nutrition and the fact you said you are providing, did you say 800,000 meals per year to?
Through our 5 grantees, yes.
That's an incredible amount. But let's move on to some of the other areas, because you've got a lot of other programs.
Yeah.
You've got the aging helpline, long-term care. Talk about particularly the ombudsman program.
And you got it right first try. A lot of people stumble on that. Well, the ombudsman.
Well, I still sat here and looked at it for a few minutes to try to get it in my mind.
Fair enough.
Tell us about it.
5 of our 16 staff members serve as advocates for those who live in long-term care facilities. They go into long-term care facilities, see when older folks have problems and complaints, and they'll sit down with the older person and then perhaps the administration and serve as a mediator for solving some of the issues. We also have volunteers who are trained, not nearly as many as we'd like, who serve as the eyes and ears of our ombudsman. Okay? So to me, as I mentioned to you in the break, I think the ombudsman are really the heroes of Areawide, because we're talking about people who are nursing home bound, who don't, unfortunately, the majority of, I think 58% of those who are in nursing homes never, as in NEVER, never have a visitor. Okay? Kids are far-flung, et cetera, or have something wrong with them.
So the problem, Don, if I'm hearing you, is really not the nursing home. It's the families or the friends who basically have either forgotten them, or maybe the individuals that lived all their friends and family. Talk more about that in very practical terms.
I would say that I, as an advocate for older folks, would not let the nursing homes off the hook that easily. I would, however, say that sometimes I'm ashamed to admit what sons and daughters do, i.e. don't do, in taking care of mom or dad. There's a lot of neglect there. And sure, people do outlive all their friends and family, et cetera. And like I said, it's not unusual for somebody who's grown up here and has parents here to live in Oregon or Washington, D.C. or Minnesota or whatever. And their life goes on too.
Well, I think I just want to say a lot of the homes, facilities, both government funded as well as private, really do a great job. I've been in them and appreciated so much the care they give. And I remember talking to insurance agents over the year, and they said that the majority of seniors who are really ripped off by members of the family, not by strangers necessarily. Is that true, or?
That's a sad saga indeed. We get phone calls sometimes where some ne'er-do-well son or daughter has gotten their clutches on mom's banking account or changed the title to land. We've had some of those, and they are truly gut-wrenching, and to me, that pretty well disgust me when we run across that. That's one of the reasons why one of our grantees is Legal Aid Services of Oklahoma. Sometimes we get some some legal assistance there, and they not only would come into that sort of scenario, but another sad thing is that some of the largest number of claims that they take care of are seniors being ripped off by people renting them an apartment, things like that. So there's graft and ugliness at all levels, but
one of your brochures I picked up makes a statement on the front that caught my attention. It said, many older adults suffer in silence because they do not know help is available.
Yes. And there's another portion of that. These are folks, most of the older folks grew up during the Depression, okay? That's when all they ever heard, the whole message of their existence was, we got to do it by ourselves. We've got to pull up, get ourselves up, pull ourselves up by bootstraps, all of that. And, oh, honey, I don't want to bother you. It's okay. No. There's a whole lot of that. That's a generational thing. And people quietly suffering is, say, my parents' generation. As more and more people come into the aging area, I assure you, my generation, the baby boomers, do not suffer quietly.
I notice, of course, there's so many services here. There's a couple of services that some of our sponsors provide that obviously is not from your agency. We've got a sponsor that does this 211 telephone service that just simply provides information, and people can call in and visit with them. And I've been very impressed with what they do. And, of course, then one of our sponsors is this UT phone company that provides a discount telephone service for seniors, and it makes it possible for seniors on a very limited income to at least have not only a home phone but a cell phone and be able to stay in touch with their family who may be anywhere between California, New York, or any place else.
And emergencies particularly. Having that phone is a link to life, really. It really is.
And it can be provided at virtually no cost at all. I mean, $1 a month or whatever. And they really do a great job. But I notice you've mentioned some other areas here because of time. Let's move on to them. You're a Metro Transit.
Yeah.
How are you involved in that?
Well, the fact of the matter is that if we have all these meal sites throughout the metropolitan area, what we also know is that 40% of seniors don't. Let's put it this way: 40% depend on somebody else for their transportation needs.
I didn't know it was that high. 40%.
Yeah. So we could have a meal site there and be virtually empty if we didn't provide some transportation. So those two things go hand in hand. Also,
now, some time ago, we interviewed a lady with the RSVP, retired volunteer.
Beth Patterson.
Yeah.
Beth and I sat down one day, put our heads together, and she was lamenting the fact that she didn't have enough things for her volunteers to do, while I'm saying I don't have enough transportation. And at the same moment, we met eye to eye and went, wow. And so Metro Transit, part of their grant money goes to RSVP, where individual volunteers will pick somebody up and take them to. We want to focus on doctor's appointment there, and that program's been going on now for 15 plus years, and it's been a great service to the community.
Another one of your agencies I see here is called the Sunbeam Family Service, which that caught my attention because I've heard my wife talk about how her mother took a child in from Sunbeam Family Services back. Don, we're going back into the 40s on that one. That thing's been around a long time.
Yeah, Sunbeam is a large agency that the scope of it age-wise is cradle to the grave. They've got counseling, which is a big part of what they do. But what they do for us is they help train caregivers, okay? Let's face it, us guys never learned how to take care of people, right? And train caregivers. Also, Oklahoma has one of the highest rates of grandparents raising grandchildren, and so we have some assistance there where lower income grandparents raising grandchildren can get school supplies for their grandbaby, because we know for a fact they sometimes will not buy the medications they need if that child needs anything. So we're working with caregivers as well as grandparents raising grandchildren there. That's one of our grantees. In Cleveland County, they operate for all 4 counties what we call is voucher program. People who need, let's say you need a weekend off, you need a day off as a caregiver, we can get you a voucher where we could give you X amount of money for that period. You choose who you want to come do the caregiving for your loved one, and that's how that helps.
Don, I'm going to say something here, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there are a lot of people out there who know a senior who is having problems that nobody knows about. It may be transportation, it may be medical, it may be a lack of food, it may be loneliness, all kind of problems, and you feel like, gee, somebody ought to do something, but I don't know what to recommend, don't know who to call, don't know how to help. Is your office a number that should be referred to on something like that?
Oh, I think definitely so. Now, there are times when we have to tell people, no, we can't do that because what you're asking us to do would be a $2,000 check for us to write. We do, wherever possible, we help people who are nearly destitute. We may help them with an electric bill that's high in the summertime or a gas bill in the wintertime. We help people with wheelchair ramps, accessibility. If you don't have it, you become a prisoner in your own home. Little things like that. Those things amount to well in excess of a couple $100,000 a year.
I'm Glenn Howard, Senior World Radio, visiting today with Don Hudman. Don is the director of the Areawide Aging Agency. Let me suggest to you, they've got a book called Survival Kit for Seniors. It shows it's got a $3 price tag on it. I don't know if they really imposed that or if
it's a suggested
they
donation.
Make it okay.
Yeah.
But give them a call. Their telephone number, of course, area code 405 is 943-4344. Any questions you've got or information you want, or if you'd like to get a copy of that book, it has everything you want to know in it. You would find it very helpful. Don, thanks so much for coming in. It's been great to have you. I'm Glenn Howard, Senior World Radio. We've got to go. Time has simply run out. But be kind to one another. Say something good to somebody and love somebody, especially yourself. See you at the same time next week. Till then, God bless. Bye-bye.
I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, and the only explanation I